and play on 2nd and 10. That's his youth right there.
Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fires to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins!
Today I'll be giving my Week 14 college football rankings. So I've still got Ohio State at number one. So Ryan Day finally got past what's been the one problem for him since he's been at Ohio State with a dominant win over Michigan. Now that first Ohio State touchdown, Jeremiah Smith fumbled the ball before he crossed the goal line and it went in the end zone. So it actually should have been Michigan's ball, but Ohio State was the more physical team in this game for the first time since they've been on this losing streak to Michigan. They pushed around Michigan at the line of scrimmage on both sides. And I've still got Indiana at two. They just played Purdue. That's hardly a rival to them anymore. Really just like playing a high school team, but they destroyed them 56-3 like you would expect. And I moved Georgia up to number three because Texas A&M lost, but they probably won't be three for long because they're going to have to play Alabama again in the SEC champion at ship. And I would have thought that they would have beat Georgia Tech a little easier than they did, but because it is a rivalry and Georgia Tech is not a bad team, I still thought overall they played okay. Their defense probably played the best game they have all season, but their offense was terrible. I was shocked that they only scored 16 points. I moved Ole Miss up to four because Texas A&M lost. But even though Lane Kiffin left, I don't think that the players should be punished by being moved down in the rankings because of that. And they certainly didn't do anything in the Egg Bowl to deserve to be moved down in the rankings. And at least when Kiffin was there, Ole Miss seems like a team that would have at least a little bit of a chance of winning a national championship. Their offense was plenty good enough, and their defense has been playing better late in the season. And I only moved Texas A&M down to number five because while they should have beat Texas, Marcel Reed probably played his worst game of the season also in that one. It was a loss to a pretty good team and wasn't a blowout loss. A&M, I still think, has a chance at a national championship. And I've got Texas Tech at six because while I do think Texas Tech is better than Texas A&M, and Texas Tech played like they should, destroying West Virginia 49-0. Texas A&M has played a tougher schedule than Texas Tech has, but Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas Tech seem like the three best teams in the country, and I think it's probably going to be one of them that wins the national championship. And I've got Oregon at number seven still, so they beat Washington 26-14. Their offense didn't do as well as you would have thought, but there might have been a reason for that because their offensive coordinator, Will Stein, is going to replace Mark Stoops as Kentucky's head coach, and that might affect Oregon in the college football playoff. And I've got BYU still at number eight. They played okay, blowing out Central Florida 41 to 21. And BYU, though, will have to beat Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship to make it to the college football playoff, which is unlikely. And I've seen reports that Penn State is trying to hire their coach. and I moved Texas up to at number 9. I actually think Texas should be in the college football playoff. I think Sarkisian has a good argument because while Texas does have 3 losses, that you can't really punish them for scheduling Ohio State, and they came close to winning that game. Because if Texas had scheduled a team like Purdue, they would be at 10-2, and they have 3 great wins now against Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Texas A&M. Their defense played against A&M like it did against Ohio State and Oklahoma. And then, but while Arch Manning played terrible in the first half, he played great in the second half. Texas, I still don't think is consistent enough though to be able to make a run at a national championship. Because while the Texas team that showed up against Ohio State and Oklahoma and Texas A&M would have a chance at a national championship, the Texas teams that showed up against Florida and Kentucky and Mississippi State were actually bad looking teams. And that loss to Florida is really the worst part of the season for Texas. And while the loss to Georgia, if you look at the final score, it is bad. It wasn't quite as bad as you would think from looking at the score. They were a little bit competitive in that game. And I've got Oklahoma at 10. So they played like they have most of the season against LSU, 17-13 win. And their defense did play great, but their offense, even though LSU has got a good defense themselves, only scoring 17 points is never good. And I've got Alabama at 11. I thought they played okay. Because the Iron Bowl in Auburn, is going to be close. And I've got Miami at 12. They got another dominant win coming against a decent Pittsburgh team, 38-7. I actually think Miami deserves to be in the college football playoff at this time because of their win over Notre Dame. And while they do have a couple of losses, they were close losses to decent teams, and since their last loss, they've been dominant. And Notre Dame, I think they deserve a college football playoff spot too. They just played a horrible Stanford team, but destroyed them 49-20, like that you would expect. But if it comes down to Miami or Notre Dame, to be fair, you would have to go with Miami because they beat Notre Dame. Now, because Miami's win over Notre Dame came in week 1, if Miami was playing bad, you might move Notre Dame ahead of them. But Miami is not playing bad. So I've got Vanderbilt at 14. They got a dominant win over their rival Tennessee, 45-24, a team that has a whole lot more talent than they do, and that gave them their first 10-win season ever. Clark Lee, I think, probably deserves the Coach of the Year award, and Diego Pavia, I think, should be a Heisman possibility. And Clark Lee has been given a 6-year extension by Vanderbilt and a raise that I think it deserves. So I've got Utah at 15. I thought they played okay against Kansas, winning 31-21, but Utah doesn't have a chance at making the college football playoff. Virginia, who I've got at 16, they're now going to the ACC championship against Duke, that I think they'll probably beat, which will get them into the college football playoff. But Virginia, in my opinion, doesn't even have a chance of winning a playoff game. And I have USC at 17 because now that Arizona beat Arizona State, USC, I think, has the best win of the 3 lost teams against Michigan. And USC, I thought, played okay overall against UCLA, getting the win 28-10. While they didn't score as much in that one as I would have thought, they are playing better defense this year than last year. And Michigan, who I've got at 18 because they lost to Ohio State, they now have no chance at the college football playoff. And I have Houston at 19 and Arizona at 20, and ahead of Georgia Tech, who I've got at 21, because Houston and Arizona's win over Arizona State, I think, is a better win than any of Georgia Tech's wins. So Houston beat a Baylor team that I turned out to be very wrong about. I was very high on Baylor in the preseason, picked them to go to the Big 12 championship, but they're not even going to go to a bowl game. So Houston, though, their coach at Willie Fritz has done a very good job coaching their team. And Arizona, their win over Arizona State, I don't think they would have gotten had Arizona State have had Sam Levitt. Arizona State, I've got them at 22 because they now, I think, have the best win of all the four loss teams against Texas Tech. And I ranked Tulane at 23. And at Tulane, they did beat Duke, who is going to the ACC championship. But it is pretty clear that Tulane is the best group of five team. But now that their coach left, I wouldn't say they're likely to make it to the college football playoff because they still have a conference championship game left that they have to win to make it. And at Tulane, it's pretty obvious that even if they do make the college football playoff, that they can't win a playoff game because of the way they played against the Ole Miss. They got destroyed. And I've got Wake Forest at 24 and SMU at 25 because while Wake Forest and SMU both lost this week, Wake Forest beat SMU, and SMU and Louisville, I think, have the second best win of all the four loss teams. And SMU, though, they have to be ahead of Louisville because SMU blew out Louisville. But that'll be it with this video. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.